Greetings, Shelpers. Thank you for joining me for my belated Christmas stream. It's going to be interesting because I'm manning a lot of this myself, at least right now, and my wireless mouse is a bugbear, so it's going to be difficult. I want to show you all some things and tell you all some things about my Christmas traditions, what it was like when I was little, back when the wars were going on, and yes and no, but just, you know, hang out, decorate a tree, that kind of thing. Hopefully some people enjoy it. Hopefully I don't get copyright struck. I did get copyright claimed for No More Snow, which I found a little bit funny, but here we are. I don't care about claims, I just care about if they strike me, because I don't want to lose this. Not until I'm ready. So, alright. Well, I hope everyone had bright holidays. As far as I know, Kwanzaa's last night is tonight, but otherwise, solstice is done, Christmas is over, Hanukkah is over. So, I think most holidays are over, except I think January 6th is Orthodox Christmas. So some of you still have stuff to celebrate, which is nice and good. I want to actually take my remote to the TV because I want to make sure there's no like commercials playing in the background, because I'm playing this on YouTube and I don't have premium. I will not get premium. So, all right. I hope everyone had a lovely Christmas. So my traditions when I was little included going on night rides to look at the Christmas lights. So Mom would bundle us all up in the vehicle. We had a big van, a big green van, and we would drive down the country roads and just look at people's yards. And I don't really think we went into town too much to look, but there was stuff along the way. And it was one of my favorite Christmas traditions as a kid. I still love looking at the lights. They're so pretty. And husband even gets nostalgic because where he lived down south, there was a parade, and around the parade, everybody would decorate their houses all nice. So every time he sees certain decorations or whatnot, like on YouTube videos or whatever, he's like, oh my God, that's like home. So it's really cute. So that was one of my favorite traditions. Of course, we believed in Santa as kids. Although why Santa would have the Sears Wish book was beyond us at the time. For those of you not in the know, there is a company called Sears, and they are a department store. They're kind of on their way out because of Walmart and Amazon and all that. But every year they would give you a gigantic, thick catalog to your house called the Sears Wish book. And it would have a ton of toys, electronics, clothes for grown-ups, jewelry, perfumes, just a bunch of different stuff you would sell, because everything at Christmas time can be a gift. So they would share what they had on offer, but most of it was dedicated to toys. So my older brothers and I, the minute it would arrive, we would kind of like tussle over it, and we would make our lists from the Sears Wish book. And of course, since we were poor, my mom was charging it to her Sears credit card. She had a Sears credit card with a fairly high limit, but she was like, oh, this'll help Santa. Yeah, right, okay, sure. But we always waited for that time of year when the Sears Wish book would come. I don't think they have the Sears Wish book anymore. Some people used to swear by like the Toys R Us book that used to come every year. And I do know that not Walmart, Amazon is trying to rip off the Sears Wish book, because we get an Amazon catalog every year around Christmas time with stickers and here's where you write your letter to Santa and yada 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 yada. So, but that was always a big thing for me. When we were little, we used to decorate, except for the tree, right around Thanksgiving. So by the time Thanksgiving came around, we had everything up and running. We lived in a trailer with a long hallway, so we would put the lights up around the living room ceiling, and then they would extend into the part of the hallway or down part of the hallway. And a lot of times we put chaser lights. So when you turn off the lights, there would be like chaser lights around the entire front of the like place. It was beautiful. We used to pack in a lot of Christmas in that tiny space, and it felt like magic. My mom would make tons of cookies and candies, and she would make chocolate covered chow mein noodles, chocolate covered coconut, chocolate covered raisins, peanuts, mixed nuts, fudge. So like the fudge that you cut in a pan. She would make something called date bars, and they had like dates and coconut and Rice Krispies, and I don't even know what else. So if you've heard of those. Cookies were gingerbread, sugar, peanut butter, chocolate chip, chocolate peanut butter chip, oatmeal raisin, if I didn't say that one already. So there would be a plethora of cookies and candy waiting for us. But about 2 weeks to Christmas, we finally got our Christmas tree. When I was little, because when I was young, we got a real one. And yes, for those of you who know me, I am allergic to pine trees. So I loved real trees. But imagine, like every time you go across the floor and you're like bare feet, and you got a pine needle in your foot, you'd have a big welt with, it was fun. Of course I crawl, so that would be all up in my knees and my legs. So that was fun. Every time I brushed against it, I would turn red and blotchy. I am still allergic to pine trees, so I don't have one. But when I got a little older, we used a fake tree. So when you get a fake tree, you can put it up around Thanksgiving with everything else. My mom would often start Christmas music in September, though I would plead for her to wait until at least November 1st because I liked Halloween. And it didn't really work. So since we shared a bedroom, because again, small space, I would be listening to like Bing Crosby CD the whole few months leading up to. So every night it would be the same damn CD. But I do know how to do the first verse of O Come All Ye Faithful in Latin because that's on his CD. So I guess there are small miracles and mercies and benefits to having a mother who's nuts. So we kind of just did that sort of thing all the time. And yeah, Thanksgiving was basically a dress rehearsal for Christmas. You didn't get presents, but you ended up getting pie instead of cookies and candy, big dinners, family. As we got older, family came over less and less. They gave less of a shit. And I think that's partly how it goes, but also partly my mom didn't have a good relationship with her brothers for various reasons, which I understand. And then, people get busy and they move away, or, my grandma was around until she passed away. And I was like 20 when that happened, so she was always over, at the very least. And then my baby brother came into the picture, and we had sort of half adopted him through most of his life. And now he's baby sibling at they're almost 30 years old. But yeah, baby sibling came into our lives as cousin sibling. And then we kind of half raised the baby artist. And then, yeah. So artist baby became part of our little family, but he came along 10 years after I was born. So, and since his parents still had him half the time, I was well into a teenager by the time they shared in our traditions. So it was nice though. For New Year's, we used to do like the finger food and the wine and watch the ball drop on TV and whatnot. But as we got older, things had to morph because, husband and I moved out from the farm, and the 3 years that my family still lived there, every Christmas we would go there for 2 weeks. So we would pack up our stuff, even though it was only like 20 minutes away or so. We would pack up our stuff, and we would have to make sure we had enough for weeks and figure everything out, because when we left for the farm, we were there. Like there was no leaving until after the New Year. So we would get there from about the 20th to the 23rd, I would say. Though she liked us there closer to the 20th. And we wouldn't leave till at least the 2nd or 3rd. So we would spend the whole 2 weeks back at the farm in our old room for Christmas because we had moved into the farmhouse the year husband had moved up here to live with me. And after they had moved into somewhere else in like the early 2010s, then mom didn't pressure or put as much like force into it, but we did spend a few days even still. So I'm trying to like listen for commercials. I hope I'm not inundating you with like ads for pie. That's a whole different discussion, but oh my God. So it was a lot different. And then eventually we would have, since we wouldn't do New Year's Eve anymore as a family, my mom would start making like the cheese and meat trays, like, and the, like all the finger food stuff, like the chicken nuggets and the pizza rolls and all that for Christmas Eve. And then if we stayed for Christmas Day, then we would have the whole like ham, turkey, whatever the hell. So now that I'm older and it's just husband and I, along with baby sibling and my sister, who started off life as my best friend. She's my chosen sister. We actually have a finger food potluck on Christmas Eve. So at noon, everybody arrives and we do an exchange of gifts after we eat, but everybody brings something. So this year we were in charge of the sausage, cheese, and crackers. And then we got chicken nuggets and we had shrimp. And then baby sibling brought pizza rolls and sister brought pigs in a blanket. So we just load up, we sit around, we eat. I always have people mask still because of, you know, getting sick and that not being for me. So then afterwards we exchange gifts and we listen to music and we talk, and everybody is out and gone by 4:30 in the afternoon. Because like preparing for the day is a lot. And gifts are $10 or under, and or make something for each other. So I kind of did both this year. And my baby sibling, they like drew the cards, but then they bought us all Squishmallows. So husband, I, and sister, we all got a Squishmallow from baby sibling. And they're really soft. I've never had a Squishmallow before. And sister gave us all different things. She makes tumblers with like epoxy and stuff on them, which is really hard to do. And she gave me a little dragon family. She bought a dragon mold off Amazon and then made each a dragon like our colors. So I got like 3 or 4 little flying resin dragon things for Christmas from her for Christmas Eve. We exchanged gifts earlier. That's another tradition we have. Sister, husband, and I have a candy day where we make like 3 kinds of candy. We go halvesies on the, you know, baking materials. And then we split the candy when she gets ready to go home. So we always make like chocolate and peanut butter, not chunks, peanut chunks. And chocolate covered, or chocolate mint animal crackers, which are chocolate animal crackers mixed with a mint chocolate like overcoat. And then we make white chocolate pretzels. So those are the 3. But husband asked me if I wanted to make my mom's peanut butter balls this year. And my mom's peanut butter balls, which is one of the candies I didn't talk about yet, are delicious. They are one of the best things I'd ever eaten for Christmas in my life. And most people use just powdered sugar to adhere stuff together, and she used graham cracker with powdered sugar, and it was so good, Shelpers. I had her recipe, but she never gave me the exact amounts because it was more like eyeballing for her since she cooked so long and so often all her life. She started cooking eggs when she was 4. So when I'm like, Mom, how much of, you know, the peanut butter? Oh, just till it looks right. Maybe a couple big spoonfuls. And by big spoonful, she means serving spoons, like out of one of those big tubs of like Peter Pan or some shit. So I'm like, Mom, you need to be more specific. Well, I can't, Dolly, she would say. So a husband and I trialed and errored like 1 or 2 years and came up with semi-close numbers for her peanut butter balls. So it's like one of the only recipes of Mom's I have. And it always reminds me of Christmas. The only other recipe we have from her, I think, is the cheesecake, which is very simple and delicious. And my house smells like cheesecake right now because my husband is making it, and we only have cheesecake around the holidays, generally. Usually for Thanksgiving, but we stocked up this year on like cream cheese and stuff to make it, so what else do I do? So those are the traditions. And then in January, husband and I have our own private Christmas. And it started out because Christmas is stressful and you work so hard and so long, and then there's wrapping and packing and sending and gifting and decorating and just all the different stuff. And it's a very stressful holiday. And it's nice, it's beautiful, people are kinder, generally, hopefully, but it's still difficult in a lot of ways. So, husband and I decided that we would have our own special day. How it came about was my one older brother had made me cry on Christmas, at Christmas dinner, for something, a question I had asked him, and I didn't know like what it would set off. I asked him how he would like a game. And it turned into him being very upset because he had gotten ripped off and hadn't played the game because he had tried to buy it from someone on eBay and it was a scammer, and he felt duped, and then he felt stupid, and then I was just, I guess, rubbing it in even though I knew nothing about it. So that's what that's how it started. And then Mom was like, I should go into a nursing home. And I had just sat there crying at the dinner table. It was a rough Christmas. Of course, I had to be the one to break the tension. I had to be the one to apologize. And that's kind of how it worked in my family. And we ended up having a nice day after that, a nice time. But husband is like, that was rough. And I said, I wish we could have our own Christmas. So husband and I do. That's kind of how it started. So we picked January because, one, our Christmas decorations are still up. We love the decorations, and it's like, why take them down to put them back up and everything? So there's that. It's in Wisconsin. It's still snow on the ground. So it still looks like winter outside. Nowadays, with Spotify for music or YouTube for music and like DVDs and, streaming services for movies, you can have Christmas 24/7, 365.25 days a year if you want. So we just thought it was better, and I've noticed more people are actually talking about this, having your own Christmas later on. And I think it's a good thing that we're doing it. People sometimes don't want to cook, so they just order out because it's not Christmas, everything's open, like actual Christmas. Or it's not something where they have to send out a lot of packages to other people, so there are like few people they choose to celebrate the holiday with. They actually have more money or any money to give any gifts at all. There are just so many benefits to doing a different kind of Christmas at a different point, and I've noticed it's gaining a lot of traction. And that's what happened. Okay. Our mouse went absolutely bananas for a minute because we have a wireless mouse, and the stars flung themselves around the room, but I think I fixed them, sort of. Yeah, the decorations for the blank tree and all the stuff to trim it were from Starlight Akari, I think, on Etsy at one point. And it was like she had, or they had, I should say, because I don't know for sure. They had like an advent calendar's worth of goodies. So I think this was part of their like streamer advent calendar one year. Very pretty stuff. So there's that. And I like being able to like try out different traditions, but like most of the traditions I want to try out, we haven't. Like, I want to be able to do an advent calendar. I want to be able to build a snowman. I want to be able to make a gingerbread house. And none of that's going to be easy for me, especially the snowman, because wheelchairs don't like snow most of the time, and I don't have a tank or anything, so I get stuck. So, plus I'm very susceptible to cold and being anemic and all. So it's just a lot harder for me to build a snowman. And as far as gingerbread houses go, husband is kind of worried about like leaving like all this sweet frosting and stuff out just in case. And I'm like, there are no bugs. It's like 15 degrees outside, but I understand his concern as well. And as far as an advent calendar, there are so many. I don't know which one I would pick, and I think I would want to use a refillable one because most advent calendars, you can only use them 1 year, and then it's like, oh, $50 for this advent calendar that's filled with all these goodies, and then it's like, well, next year you got to do it again. Like, go ahead and buy a different one. So I would prefer just an advent calendar that had like a sweet scene or like something you could put together yourself. I think that would be primarily what I'd be looking for. Okay, I'm gonna like finish like decorating this tree, I think. But we're gonna have to like undecorate it. Damn it. And the reason being is because in a couple minutes I want to take you over to other stuff. Now, one of the reasons I hesitated for doing all of this today is because I want to show you a few things, and I'm scared of, like I said, the copyright, but also the difficulty with manning the machine myself. As you know, I'm very technologically illiterate. I'm basically a Luddite, so it's very difficult for me. Another thing I miss from old Christmases is when we used to do concerts and stuff in grade school. Some people hated them, I loved them. And the reason is I went to a very small elementary school out in the middle of nowhere. And they would put us all in the gym, which served also as the cafeteria. And when they put us in the gym for practice, they would put the stage on one end of the gym. So eventually, like the week or two leading up to Christmas, when they were trying to like get everybody's speaking parts down, the songs, what class goes when, you could actually like sit on the tables that you would lunch at and like draw. Later on when you were a bit older, you could like do your schoolwork. But it was just so much fun, like having all that Christmassy stuff in the background. And every year at the end of the program in my school, you got a bottle of Coca-Cola, a glass bottle. So the school actually bought like a myriad of glass bottles of Coca-Cola just to hand out to all the kids and some of the parents. And I thought that was really odd, but apparently it was just their tradition. And I don't know how many schools do that now, especially with them trying to like crack down on, you know, giving the kids a lot of sugar and whatnot. But we would also have like holiday crafts. Like one year we made a small choo-choo train entirely out of candy and hot glue. And giving me a hot glue gun, Shelpers, is an experience, let me tell you. I burned myself so many times on the hot glue that it was unreal. Even with my German language teacher helping me. And Mr. M looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. You know, I've done worse to myself, but yeah. I think one of the things I miss the most about younger Christmases, two things. One is the family. We used to have uncles and godparents and cousins and grandparents and just house full of people with cocoa and stories and pictures and just so much stuff. But the other thing I miss is like having hope or feeling magic, I guess I should say. I miss the feeling of magic, the anticipation, thinking that anything amazing could happen. When I was really little, I wanted to actually help Santa. I wanted to go to the North Pole. I wanted to help give out toys to kids. I wanted to be that person forever. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I was hoping I would get called up in some sort of like North Pole recruitment or some shit and hope that I could bring joy and magic to other people for the rest of my life. Of course, that didn't last long because when you find out the truth, you know, But I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to help people and bring magic and be the person behind someone else's story in a way, or somebody who tells people, yeah, your life is not going well right now, but just don't give up. So Santa was always perfect for me. But you know, you oscillate when you're a kid for different things and different purposes. I'm gonna have to take down all our decorations though, I think, because... Oh, and it's just clicking them right back up. Of course it is. Thank you, wireless mouse. I love you not. Our wireless mouse is a poop. But yeah. The hardest thing though is not having family, I think. You know, when you're used to like all the different people and all the different family, and then it's just like, nope. Like, why would we come by and see you? Why would we care? So, Christmas gets bittersweet when you're older, Shelpers. Okay, now I'm gonna try to swap over, and I don't know where the hell it is. Okay. Husband is trying to direct me.
It's like right below your model, right there.
Okay. We're gonna swap over. And then I have to go to this. Yeah, this is what I've been listening to. This is no copyright, so I'm glad of that. Okay, pause this. Pause this. Thank you, Lord. Okay. Alright, here we go. So, wait, this is not what I wanted. Hang on a minute. This is what I wanted. Okay, so... When Santa Claus is coming to town, and you are a girl in the 90s... Now, some of this will not apply to me. I'll try to find the stuff that did at one point. So, because, you know, I couldn't get everything back then, but I'm going to try to tell you what I wanted or what I had. Now, Polly Pocket is nostalgic. And back when I was a kid, they were like this. They had the little half band. They were hard plastic. Nowadays, she's a little bit bigger. They revamped her, of course. And I have one of the newer Polly Pockets because my mom one year gave me like her ballet studio. And I was like, you're trying to tell me something with this whole ballet and walking thing, but she didn't find it as funny as I did, but she wanted me to have it for the nostalgia. I had a couple of them, but you always lost these little peg people. And the little, her feet fit in like little... like indents. So I had one that was like a big place with like a trundle bed and just a couple other ones. So this one was really cool. Like Polly Pocket. They had a boy version I thought called Mad Max, but I don't remember what it was actually called. And they had like labs of like mad scientists and whatnot. So there was a boy version of like the Polly Pocket as well. The Disney games, I had the Little Mermaid one. My brother and I would fight over using it. But yeah, I had one of these when I was little too. I don't remember when I got it though. I never had my size Barbie. She kind of creeped me out. Doodle Bears were something we gave cousins at one point, but I never had them. Puppy Surprise. I always wanted this damn thing. Okay, so... the gist of it is you get this dog that's a little uncanny, and this dog has puppies inside of her. And you don't know if you're going to get 3, 4, or 5 puppies. And they even had at some points, like, I think these were the ones with like little tutus and stuff you could put on the dogs. I love tiny things. So when we did our magazine selling at grade school, we would actually have different prizes, and one of them was like a gray hedgehog with like a Velcro stomach with 2 hedgehog babies or so inside of it. And I actually won one once because I was just so happy, but I never got the puppy. Dream Phone is something I never used. Quints were amazing. So there are these 5 little dolls, and they are all usually blonde, and they have like a house where you have like 5 little bedrooms for them, 5 little beds, 5 little bottles, like 5 little everything. That was the whole thing. I loved tiny little collectibles, if you couldn't tell. I still do, actually. And these were my jams. I had a couple different sets and I wanted like the big playhouse and stuff, but I never got them. But it's amazing. They were amazing to me. I never had the ballerina doll, but she looks creepy AF nowadays. Never had Mall Madness. Tamagotchis, yes, and they're back now. As a matter of fact, my mother and father-in-law got me one a few years ago, and I can only keep it alive for about 2 damn weeks. But back when I was a girl, the first thing that came to America, for me anyway, was something called Neopet. I think it was a Neopet. And one year, for an exchange from my father's family, which we didn't participate in normally, I got a Neopet that was a cat. And it was yellow. So it had like a yellow egg case. And I loved that thing into the ground. And then I got a purple case one that was a dog. But a lot of Tamagotchis actually had the ability to do multiple pets. So I got a couple one year that were in a red case that where you could have a dinosaur, a turtle, a whole bunch of them. I loved them to the ground and up. I absolutely love these things. But now I can't keep them alive and it makes me feel bad. My Little Pony, yep, they brought it back and now you have the Applejack and whatever of the world and the Pony Bros and whatnot, but back then these were a huge thing for me. I loved My Little Ponies. I think I had the Ariel doll. I think Santa brought her for me one year and I was ungrateful. We're just going to skip that. The Barbie Happy Meal toys I never had. I don't remember this thing that looks a little sus. The Babysitter's Club mystery game, no, but I used to read the books. I don't know if any of you remember the Scholastic Book Fair. Like, I don't know if they still do that in school, but one year, by the end of school, I had gotten a bunch of the Babysitter Club books from Scholastic. Now, I never had this doll. But this doll was amazing. And the reason is, she had stationery supplies. So she had this one thing that was a secret little stamper. She had this one thing that had a roll of stickers inside of it. I love stationery. I love good pens nowadays, planners, stickers, everything, because I make cards and do all the other stuff with it. So this might be where it began because they would run a lot of commercials for her about all the different secrets she hid. So I never had an American Girl doll, not once. Dear Diary, I had this one. I loved it. I would type in little things, and I used to want a PDA, which stood for, at the time, Personal Digital Assistant. And it was amazing. And you actually had the ability to put in a password. And I gotta tell you, my password was Jaws backwards. Don't ask me why. But nobody ever guessed SWAJ. I don't know why I did that. But I was like, I want something that nobody will ever guess. It could do a bunch of different things. I loved it. I would actually love a modernized one of these for adults. It's just the kind of person I am. Cupcake dolls, I remember seeing them. They actually got a reboot. She has a very male pattern baldness going on. But no, I never had them for myself. I've heard of Cherry Mary Muffin dolls, but again, never had it. I've never seen these, again, never had them. I've seen this, again, never had it. Fashion plates were something I kind of wanted as an older kid, but yeah, never had it. Little Miss Magic Jewels, I wanted this doll so bad, never got it. I don't know what Pretty Pretty Princess even is. No, I had a Jasmine doll, but I didn't have a Belle doll. It's cool that she came with multiple clothes, though. The Crayola Magic Scent crayons I had, I think, once. I used to have the sparkle crayons. I was over the moon when Crayola introduced glitter crayons. I am a glitter girl, and I shouldn't be. They say it's bad for the environment, but I love it. I've never had Ice Capades Barbie. Kitty Surprise was basically Puppy Surprise, of course. This thing, yes. Little Miss Magic Hair. I named her Misty, and I got her from my grandma one year when I was about, 5? I don't remember. I don't remember how old I was. I remember we didn't move up to the farm yet, so I must have been before 7. Because we moved up when actually it would be before 6. So for anywhere from like 3 to 5, that's how old I was, I think. But yeah, I loved her. You can like make rainbows in her hair, the watercolor or the water changes her hair. You could put little stamps in her hair. It was amazing. And like I said, I almost forgot about her until I had seen her green shoes and I'm like, oh my God, that's the doll. So Fashion Faces isn't something I had, or the Vanity. Beanie Babies, holy God. Okay, if you were a 90s kid at all, you had Beanie Babies. I still have a chunk of mine. None of them are worth anything. But I don't remember how many of you remember Beanie Baby Scarcity. So at first they made us like collect all these different ones. Like, oh, there's a different line. And yes, Beanie Babies still exist nowadays. But it's like, oh, there's a different line for this. There's a different line for that. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool, great. And then they actually started being like, oh, around 2000, I think it was, I might be wrong, the Thai company is going under. And then like the home shopping networks and everything started selling these like bears for like really high prices, like the Britannia bear and the Irish bear and stuff. They started selling them for like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So people started buying up Beanie Babies because they're like, oh my God, it's all going to be so rare and it's going to be so impossible to find and we're going to be rich. So people actually were like, these will be my kids' retirement plans. And then come to find out that, you know, they didn't quit and most of them are absolutely worthless outside of being adorable. My first Beanie Baby, to my recollection, was when I was in 5th grade on my birthday, and my teacher gave me one. And the reason my teacher gave me one is because all the girls had Beanie Babies and I didn't even have one. And so she kind of overstepped, I guess, a little bit. And yeah, but see, it said, I'm sorry if you can convince this was your retirement saving strategy. There are a few Beanie Babies worth money, but not many. My first one was Bones, which kind of reminded me of a pound puppy that was well, the brown one with the dark brown ears. They kind of reminded me of a pound puppy in that way, because that was the exact like formula, not the same with the big nose. But yeah, I still do have a few Beanie Babies in modern era. I use them for like Halloween decorations because some of them are cute. There's like Vanish, who's like a white ghost with like silver stars and moons and stuff like that. So I also have like a bear or two because I had Valentina, so husband bought Valentino for me. So we have them up above. One of the first gifts he ever gave me, and when we were a couple, was the birthday bear because he was moving up when we turned 21. So he actually bought me one of the birthday bears. And we have that on the cabinet as well. I never had Polly Pocket's Light Up House. Never did Girl Talk. I never had the Barbie heads. I always thought they was very creepy to have like just the head of a doll somewhere. Water babies. I had one of these things. You fill them with water and they jiggle and stuff, and no thank you. They were rubber. It was kind of creepy. Little Tyke's Dollhouse. Not that dollhouse. Furbies. Oh yes, Furbies. The nightmare of many a children. I love Furbies. I loved them at the beginning. I got one, and my mom had to stand in line for, I think, hours at Kmart one day. And I think it was the all black one I first had. I'm not sure. And I loved that thing to death. And then I got 2 more, and I loved letting them talk to each other. But then one of our little cousins was over, and they started flinging my first one up and down, like throwing it in the air. And then it broke because it hit the floor, obviously. And I didn't actually like Furbies anymore after that. And I didn't even play with my other 2, and I think they're just gone. Because I didn't really care. I never did Bath Time Fun Barbie. Troll dolls, I loved these. Now, they were actually common when my mom was younger, but every single generation gets like repackaged crap. So ours had the jewels in the tummy, lots of clothes, colorful hair. I loved them. I had pencil toppers where they could sit on top of your pencils. I loved these. My sister loved these. As a matter of fact, if these still looked like this, I would still be collecting them because I just loved them so damn much. I don't know what it was, but I loved them. And now we have, of course, the Justin Timberlake movie with like the really colorful ones, and they just don't hit the same. But man, if you could find one with a jewel in the belly, oh my god, it was Christmas. I never had pocket locker. Easy bake oven I had. And people, for those of you who don't know how this works, it's just a very strong light bulb. Like 100-watt light bulb that like bakes the cookies and stuff. It didn't taste good. It tasted like, those like TV dinners with like the brownie in the tray. That's kind of what it tasted like. So don't think you're getting anything quality out of there. Yes, PJ Sparkle dolls. I had the original. That bitch is on the right over there. Okay? The original PJ Sparkle. She also had a little sister. When I was, I think, 4, I got this doll. I think it was 4. And they actually show like a little girl in like getting into bed, going to sleep to cuddle this doll. To like good night. Like, oh my god, your dress converts into a nightgown. You can sleep with me. Thank you, PJ Sparkles. I love you too. And PJ Sparkles' body was hard as a rock. She was solid, hard plastic. The only give she had was the dress and her hair. The rest of her, all solid, all solid. And I'm thinking to myself, how good was she at cuddling? And she lit up, but only because you like pressed the heart on her chest and then they did the light flashing thing. Like that was it. So it was wild. But they're like, oh, take her to bed with you. And I'm like, yeah, if you want to like knock yourself out cold if you shift around at all. Like she did not go to bed with me. But I was like, I think 4 years old. And that Christmas, when I went into the living room and I saw that doll right there, I had a heart attack almost with pure joy. Sky dancers. Oh, shelpers. I don't know if you've seen these. I talk about these on and off. So what you do is, see the butterfly thing over here? That is the pole. So you would actually like put them in the stander as firmly as you could. Then take that thing and you would pull it sideways and it would shoot up in the air. The arms, like the body is hard plastic, but the arms are foam, like the big paddle like things, the wings are foam. And she would shoot up into the sky or forward or whatever, and you could like catch them and stuff like that. There were a few problems with them though. One is the rope would fray really fast. So your stand to fling them off would go really quick. Like it would, like you would break those things. Also, their wings would actually break if they hit a wall. And if you fling them towards somebody, instead of your friend catching it, they could get clunked in the eye really hard. It hurt to get hit by one of these damn things. You wouldn't think it would, but it did. I had a couple of them. I loved them to death. But yeah, they had some problems, but they were amazing. Skip-its I saw, never used, of course. Baby Born was not my jam. Dream Skater was a no. The Dolly Maker sounds creepy. Never had that. Never had anything Playmobil. Magic Nursery Babies I saw but never had. The Power Wheels Barbie car, no. They didn't have the My Loving Family Fisher-Price dollhouse on here. And that is something that I had. That was like my 2nd grade year where I like screamed to the heavens because I was so happy. It was an amazing time. I had a Cabbage Patch Baby doll, and it wasn't like a Cabbage Patch Kid. They were like much smaller, and they were in like this weird kind of like sleep sack. It was weird, but I liked that thing too. Of course, as I got older, some of the things I wanted included like the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advanced, etc., etc. So now I'm going to try not to get copyright struck by showing you some of these other things, at least for a bit. Okay, so when I was a kid, oh shoot, hang on. One of the things I'm doing at a time. Okay, so there was like a half an hour claymation special, so clay animation, called Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas. And Will Vinton also did a Halloween one, which wasn't good, and an Easter one, which was atrocious. So, but the Christmas one was amazing. It had different segments of like classical and remixes. And this, Shelpers, was my absolute favorite segment. And I want to watch this with you now. I might get copyright claimed. I'm trying to find the play button in this. Okay. Hope you can hear it. I loved this. This was so incredible. And it's the only part I'm sharing, but like, there's the one with the camels singing like We Three Kings. That was a banger. A lot of people were upset by this. And one of the reasons they were upset by this is because it portrays, not only does it give like African Americans like center stage when it comes to like how this was directed and done and the rendition of the song, but also it shows a black Mary with a black Jesus. And, you know, something more akin to what would have actually fucking happened. But yeah, they were not happy. So the animation on this is fantastic. When I was a kid, I loved kaleidoscopes. And just having this was incredible. I love stained glass, obviously. This is so beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Just the way they did this. And I've heard more than one animator and more than one artist say this sequence to this song was the exact reason they decided to go into animation. I don't know why I have a yellow border around it. I'm sorry. I'm dumb, but this is fantastic. Just the way they like did the transitioning, the types of stuff they did with it. This was so amazing. As an adult, I'm still in awe. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get copyrighted over this, but a lot of you weren't alive long enough. You're not old enough to have known this, and it's just fantastic. It's on YouTube, as are different parts of it. Like this one over here is the Claymation Christmas Carol of the Bells, and that was silly and whatnot, but my God, that was positively radiant, breathtaking, fantastic. Okay, that one is not what I'm looking for. So, yeah, that was one of the things. Also, we're not going to watch this long, but I've been talking about watching, like, Christmas light spectaculars and whatnot. And I just want some of you to know there's this one. And this one is amazing. So, if you can see the title down there, and, like, it shows you up and down both sides of the street. Husband and I watched one recently called Christmas Lights 3 Winter Wonder Lights on Tubi, and while they did like have transitions where you could see parts of the lights close up, Some of the houses were really amazing. I would recommend that as well if you want to see like light displays, but it's too late in the year or early in the year, or you just can't go outside for whatever reason. I recommend this video. I recommend that one. I also have one during the pandemic where they had like a drive-through one. That one was okay or pretty good. A bit samey, but not too bad. Let's see what else we got going on here. The two movies husband and I watched for New Year's Eve are Merry Pooh Year, Winnie the Pooh, A Very Merry Pooh Year, and Hitched for the Holidays, which is honestly one of the best Hallmark movies you will ever find. It's about a fake relationship where this Jewish woman wants to get her parents off her back, and this guy who's trying to appease his dying grandmother by meeting the woman he's going to marry, they end up having a fake relationship through the holidays. So that's that movie in a nutshell. It's actually on YouTube with ads, so if you're ever like, I want to see like a decent Hallmark movie, like now is the time. But if you don't have time for a whole ass movie, if like you're gonna be killed or something in like 3 minutes, and the last thing you want is a subpar Christmas movie, I have to keep shutting it up. And if you need it, all you have to do is watch the trailer for this movie. This trailer pretty much spoils the entire movie. I am not joking. And we'll watch it together. Hopefully I don't get copyright struck. Don't tase me, YouTube. Her grandmother's struggling bakery. I might need to turn this up. I don't know like where the sound is. Oops. I don't know what I did. Yes, thank you for recommending the flight simulator. I appreciate that. I'm going to turn this one up, so it might drown me out for a bit. It'll be okay.
You know, for a big city lawyer, you make a pretty good baker.
Well, I did have a pretty good teacher.
Emily never thought that returning to small-town life...
Oh no, not small-town life from the big city. That's not a trope.
Make these during Christmas.
His accent is to die for. And I mean literally, it could kill a real French person by hearing it too long.
Open each day and the truth will show.
It's really bad.
The entire town is talking.
What does today's message say?
Oh, forget that. Let's just find out who sent it.
So look at all the people it's brought into the store. It could be good for business.
But if Emily's going to keep her bakery in business...
Gerard?
Emily, hello.
Yeah, he's actually the rival baker.
On me yesterday? You were
How
trying to be
shocking.
all charming and French.
But I am French.
First, she'll have to discover the one gift.
Who do you think you are?
Make up your mind. Are you a lawyer or a baker?
A lawyer or a baker. Like, he hits it so hard. By the way, his voice sounds nothing like that in real life.
Why would I want to do that?
Absolutely not. When I saw him on a different movie, I was shocked.
Don't get too carried
We
away.
watch this because of how bad it is every year.
Presents...
By the way, Mar Vista does some pretty decent bangers, and I mean that in probably a good bad way
in a magical
for Christmas movies if you ever want to like...
Remember, I'll always be your Christmas angel. Love, Nona.
about finding
See?
love where you
Spoiled
least
who the mystery was from even.
We do good work. Let's bake together soon.
I'd like that.
Yep, and of course they end up together. Her and the French guy. And his accent is so bad, French people have said, what the hell is this? So, like, you know when they're like, what the hell is this? That is just the most terrible thing ever. So, I'm going to try to go back to my transition just for a little bit. Probably just to say goodbye. We'll find out if I can. Where is my... That's my follower alert. That's my Christmas tree.
What are you trying to find?
I think I just have to make it go back down, right?
What are you looking for?
Making this go away. Giving me back my house.
Down. There you go. The bottom one.
Oh, beyond Toluca, right? Okay. So yeah, we'll go back to my house. I'll put the tree up just for a little bit longer. Because now that we've talked about Christmas and all that fun stuff, and I'm probably going to get copyright hit. I never talk about copyright, but I'm scared my channel's going to leave me. That's okay, though. We'll see what the YouTube gods decide, I suppose. But yeah, so so many people I know have New Year's resolutions. I don't understand them exactly. I mean, I do. New year, new start, new you, new bullshit, right? But that's the thing. Most people, when they make a resolution, it's bullshit. They're either fooling themselves or someone else or both or just the universe. I don't know. So by week 3, like, your resolutions are in the garbage. So I tend not to do resolutions. I used to because I'm very future oriented. So it's very hard for me not to do resolutions. So one of the things I like that my sister does for me a lot of years is she gets me a planner, and it's called See It Bigger, and it has like the month layout and then individual days of the week on the, every new page until the new month. So I can kind of plan out my month at a glance, but the thing is, like, it's very difficult to make a resolution when you don't know where you're going, or if you can even go anywhere. Like, a lot of my life was spent at home. A lot of my life was spent in bed. I don't really, do much, to be honest. I mean, I stream, I submit things, I watch TV, I play video games. I've been playing a lot of that TCG card simulator, but it gets really hard when you want your life to move forward, and there is no forward. There is no career for you, really. There is no, a tremendous amount of friends. There is no, real way you can go. So one of the things I used to do is I used to pick a word of the year. I know more people do this, but my word of the year, I think, was going to be acceptance. And I always hated the word acceptance, except when it came to my writing, because to me, acceptance meant giving up. Acceptance meant, well, you're just going to lay there now and just throw in the towel. But that's not what acceptance means. It's about accepting there are things you can't change and that they're always going to be there, but trying to move on around them or through them or whatever as much as you can. Now, I don't know if I'm really picking a word this year for sure, but most years I had words like magic and believe and hope and future and just stuff that would propel me forward, and it just never did. And I think maybe I have to think about acceptance. Because for those of you who don't know, I haven't streamed in a while because right before Christmas, I was pushing myself to get paintings done for people I loved and finish up the shopping and all this other crap. And I ended up sick. And when I stress out, I can end up very sick. I tend to have flares, and I'm not sure. I suspect, though I'm not sure, I have chronic fatigue syndrome /ME. So I get these weird flares where I get exhausted, I run a fever, I have random shooting ass pains. I can sleep for 20 hours a day. Sometimes I get pale, shaky, my body will run hot and cold with the same fever. It's just very bizarre. And then if I go to sleep for a couple days, mostly, I tend to be better. And I'm just, yeah, it's a lot. And I made myself sick just a handful of days before Christmas Eve when my family was going to arrive. And I do that because I push myself so hard, because for me, I've come close so many times to just having everything cut short. My sand in my hourglass has run out, everything's gone. I've come close to having that happen multiple times. And so part of me wants to just do as much as I possibly can, which isn't much, before something happens. But then if I work too hard, something happens. So it's actually very difficult for me to find the balance. So I think this year might be about that. The balance, the difference, the gentleness. Maybe might be a better word. The self-gentleness. Because I can look at anybody else and say, oh, you're not lazy, you have this going on or that going on. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a step back. Honor your limitations. That's one of my big things I always say to husband. Honor your limitations. he's exhausted. I'm like, take a nap, honor your limitations. And when it comes to me, I'm like, fuck you, no limitations, you're a horrible person. And I really think I have to just kind of, roll back a bit and say, okay, this is what has to happen now. So I might try gentleness with myself. I may try acceptance. I can't say that's not a resolution, because I don't know how I'm going to stick to that, but it's something to keep in mind, like a guidepost. And I've been thinking about it a while. I'm going to be 40 in February, so if not now, when, right? Okay, but that's about everything I wanted to share. I'm sure I've forgotten like some memories or certain things, like the time we had my brother's best friend named Jorge, and Jorge was actually like over with us at the trailer, and we had like Santa and the reindeer on the wall in the hallway, and he tried telling me that the reindeer was a burro, and I thought burro meant donkey, so I thought he was messing with me. He probably was, but I don't know the word for reindeer in Spanish, so maybe he wasn't, but I keep thinking that he was. So, all right. I think that has pretty much everything to do with everything. I really want to know how your holidays went, if you got anything good or interesting or had a sweet moment. I hope that, if you want any more like recommendations for holiday movies, whatever, I got you. Just let me know. I really do think that more people should try to do separate holidays. I'm also trying to get people to start a holiday in August. Not necessarily a Christmas type one, but I'm so tired of like August not really having much in it. And it's like the dog days of summer, so it's really too hot for everybody. So I'm just like, maybe we should think about that, because like the 4th of July for America, and before then is like the start of summer and everybody's all, happy and rushing around and going to like picnics and stuff like that. But by August, everyone's like, please God, let it end. So, you can make your own holiday anytime you want. You can make Christmas or New Year's or whatever the fuck tradition anytime you want. If you have like bad family and all you ever wanted was like, let's say a card, you could do a card holiday where you send cards to like people and like they'll give you some back. Or you could do like, I think Sweden has like Christmas Eve or something where they like exchange books and then get in their pajamas and then read all night long. Or you can do whatever you want. Absolutely whatever you want. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, make your own traditions. If you want to go outside and have a mud fight in the spring, as sort of a holiday of its own right, like the day of the mudslinging or whatever, go ahead. As long as everybody's on board and you're safe, go ahead, just do it. If you want Christmas just to be another day, then don't celebrate it. Just put on like a Buffy marathon or whatever it is you want to do. Holidays can be bittersweet for a lot of reasons, and I think we need to normalize doing whatever we do on our own terms for the holiday. Maybe I'll start someone else's new favorite tradition. You never know. Okay, with that being said, Shelpers, I will see you next time, which will be next week, for whatever the hell I'm doing. Call to the Lamb, I know that, but I'm not sure what else. So, all right, thank you, and I hope you had bright, nice holidays, and thank you for listening to this old tortoise ramble, and I hope 2025 is more amazing than you ever thought it could be. All right, Shelpers, bye.